From criminals who had painful encounters to trespassers who desperately pleaded for mercy. And even to a perfectly executed attack on a thief. Here are 26 unforgettable encounters where criminals received instant karma from animals, starting with a case that seems comedic except with very real pain. The tree-climbing intruder. The intruder is spotted under a tree, getting swarmed by two dogs who are having none of his criminal intentions. The sheer determination of these canine guardians is immediately apparent as they coordinate their attack with military-like precision. The poor criminal finds himself in an increasingly desperate situation as his clothing becomes casualties of war. What started as what he probably thought would be a simple break-in has now transformed into a survival scenario where he's fighting not just for his criminal goals, but for his basic dignity and physical well-being. The sight of a grown man scrambling up a tree to escape two determined dogs while desperately trying to keep his shredded clothing together provides a perfect example of how quickly criminal confidence can crumble when faced with unexpected resistance. Moving on to another incident that happened in Oklahoma City, a Great Dane's defense. The criminal in this story employed what he thought was a brilliant psychological strategy. The intruder's plan involved petting the Great Dane named Dubai extensively, hoping to gain the dog's trust before proceeding with his burglary. For several tense minutes, it appeared his strategy might actually work, as Dubai seemed receptive to the attention and affection. However, the critical flaw in his plan became apparent the moment the homeowner, a mother living with her blind son, discovered the unwelcome visitor in her home. The transformation in Dubai's demeanor was instantaneous and terrifying. Dubai's attack was swift and decisive, targeting both the intruder's rear end and head in a clear attempt to neutralize the threat completely. The subsequent arrest and conviction for second-degree burglary served as a permanent reminder that sometimes the best security systems have four legs and an unwavering sense of loyalty. Up next is an incredible encounter that this intruder will never forget: the mastiff showdown. The criminal's confidence in his wall-climbing abilities proved to be drastically misplaced when he encountered a South African mastiff. The powerful dog is known for its incredible strength and unwavering loyalty, making it a formidable opponent for anyone foolish enough to invade its territory. The sight of the intruder desperately grabbing the dog and punching it in a futile attempt to escape only served to escalate the situation further. The criminal's ordeal didn't end with his initial encounter with the mastiff. The pursuit continued around the yard, with the large dog maintaining constant pressure, while the smaller dogs provided what can only be described as moral support. Eventually, the overwhelmed intruder found himself trapped until the property owners returned home. The subsequent medical treatment for his injuries and arrest served as expensive reminders that some security systems bite back, literally. Moving on to a gas station that got saved by an unexpected security feature: the gas station guardian. This small business became a target for an opportunistic criminal, but the presence of a K9 protector completely transformed what should have been a routine robbery into a hasty retreat. This particular robber had likely spent time planning his approach, studying the location, and building up his courage for the confrontation. However, all of that preparation became worthless the moment he realized he was dealing with a loyal four-legged protector who viewed him as an immediate threat. The K9's response was textbook K9 protection behavior. No hesitation, no fear, just pure protective instinct translating into immediate action. The dog's fierce barking and eventual aggressive charge at the criminal made the would-be robber's survival instincts to completely override his criminal intentions. This encounter serves as a perfect example of how even the presence of a protective dog can completely derail criminal plans. This next criminal's mischievous plan failed woefully when two bulldogs did what they know how to do best: the Bulldogs' territory defense. He attempted to gain the favor of two protective bulldogs by trying to appear non-threatening, while clearly trespassing on their territory demonstrated a fundamental misunderstanding of how territorial dogs operate. These particular dogs demonstrated their well-trained nature and strong build by immediately recognizing the threat, despite the intruder's attempts at friendly gestures. Their coordinated attack left no doubt about their intentions or their capability to defend their property. The situation became so intense that neighbors were drawn to investigate the commotion. The sight of neighbors throwing water on the would-be robber while he remained pinned under the determined dogs painted a vivid picture of both the seriousness of the dog's defensive actions and the community's support for their protective efforts. This incident serves as a powerful reminder that dogs can distinguish between genuine friendly intentions and suspicious behavior, regardless of surface-level attempts to appear harmless. Here is another criminal who learnt an immediate and painful lesson: a wall climber's nightmare. This particular incident demonstrates how, even before completing his entry, the criminal found himself in a fight for survival. The coordination between the two defending dogs was remarkable, as they immediately latched onto the intruder's legs before he could even touch the ground properly. The burglar's desperate attempts to fend off the dogs using punches, grabs, and kicks proved futile against their determination to protect their territory. Their teeth sinking deeper into his legs with each passing moment served as a painful reminder that some defensive systems are designed to escalate rather than de-escalate when threatened. In the end, their determination made sure this intruder would remember this encounter for a long time and would think twice before attempting something similar again. While firearms might intimidate humans, this next case shows that dogs don't scare easily, especially when their protective instincts kick in. A dog's fearless response. This robbery attempt showcased how a canine defender could turn the tables on an armed criminal in seconds. The criminal's confidence in his weapon as a tool of intimidation completely evaporated when faced with an opponent who had no concept of firearm danger but every instinct to protect. The dog's immediate attack of the criminal demonstrated remarkable tactical awareness, neutralizing the primary threat. The sudden attack makes the robber panic, and he hastily escapes the store, abandoning his plan in the face of the fearless canine defender. Dogs operate on instinct rather than fear, making them uniquely suited to respond to threats that might paralyze human victims. The robber's hasty escape, abandoning his criminal plans entirely, demonstrates how quickly a confident criminal can become a desperate survivor when faced with unexpected resistance from a fearless four-legged defender. Moving on, this next encounter proved that size is sometimes irrelevant when it comes to dogs protecting their own. The little guardian's big impact. This small but determined dog demonstrated that courage and protective instincts aren't measured in pounds. This particular criminal spent considerable time surveilling his target, but all his careful planning crumbled in the face of one small dog's fierce determination. As soon as he opens the gate, he's met by a small dog, fiercely protecting its home. With great determination, the dog charges down the stairs, barking loudly at the trespasser. The dog's immediate recognition of the threat and aggressive response created enough noise and commotion to alert the entire neighborhood, completely defeating the stealth aspect that burglaries depend upon. What makes this encounter particularly remarkable is the complete disparity between the apparent threat level and the actual deterrent effect. This tiny dog didn't need to physically overpower the intruder. The sheer audacity of its response was enough to convince the criminal that this particular target wasn't worth the risk. Up next is an incident that involved an establishment's secret weapon that even a prepared criminal couldn't anticipate: the hidden gun store defender. This man enters the gun store with the intention of robbing it. He gets close to the counter and pulls his gun on the store clerk, but doesn't know that there is a dog behind the counter. The dog's positioning behind the counter created the perfect ambush scenario, allowing it to observe the threatening behavior while remaining hidden from the criminal's view. The timing of its attack was flawless, waiting until the weapon was drawn, and the criminal was committed to his course of action before revealing itself. The store owner's quick thinking in lifting the dog onto the counter not only ensured the animal's safety, but also maximized its intimidation factor. The sight of an aggressive barking dog at eye level, combined with the pain from its initial attack, created a psychological impact that completely overwhelmed the robber's criminal intentions. The next story involved a dog that faced off against multiple intruders and emerged victorious: the German Shepherd solo stand. The dog is heavily outnumbered as we see three would-be intruders strolling around the place and sizing up potential entry points. They climb up the walls, trying to sneak into the yard, when suddenly they come face to face with the German Shepherd, who was also patrolling the premises. The dog barks loudly, clearly not impressed by the unwanted visitors. The intruders decided that the mission might not be as easy as they thought, and dealing with a furry guardian is more trouble than it's worth. With this in mind, they quietly retreat as their careful planning and coordination became irrelevant when faced with a dog that refused to be intimidated by their numbers. Their quiet retreat demonstrated that sometimes the mere presence of a confident, territorial dog is enough to convince multiple criminals that a particular target isn't worth the risk. Moving ahead, this next story proves that sometimes the tiniest defenders deliver the most surprising results. The puppy that stopped a bike theft. This small puppy single-handedly prevented a bike theft through nothing but sheer vocal determination. A man is trying to steal a bike, but the plan quickly turns to dust as a puppy runs out and starts barking at the man. The criminal immediately knows that the puppy's barking would attract unwanted attention and proceeds to abandon his plan and flee the scene. This tiny defender's willingness to raise an alarm completely undermined the theft attempt by eliminating the privacy that such crimes require. What makes this story particularly endearing is the courage and determination of the puppy, which serves as a perfect reminder that sometimes the smallest guards have the biggest hearts and the loudest voices when it comes to defending what they perceive as their territory. Up next, this criminal met his match when two guard dogs gave him a painful and impromptu surprise. The impromptu interruption. These two alert guard dogs discovered an intruder treating their yard like his personal shopping mall. This particular criminal's casual approach to theft suggests that he underestimated the vigilance of the property's four-legged security team. He causally enters the yard and starts grabbing things that obviously don't belong to him. He tosses them over the fence to retrieve later, suggesting this wasn't his first such adventure. However, his confidence in his criminal methodology crumbled the moment two determined defenders, who had zero interest in allowing his shopping spree to continue, raced out to chase him away. The dogs continued barking and pacing even after the intruder's escape demonstrates their understanding that their territorial integrity had been violated. Their sustained alert behavior served as both a warning to any other potential intruders and a clear message that this property remained under active protection. This next trespasser found out that darkness provides zero protection against vigilant dogs who never sleep. The midnight trespasser's painful education. This criminal is trespassing in the middle of the night when he finds himself completely overwhelmed by the owner's dogs, who waste no time in asserting their territory. They bark fiercely and bite him while he desperately tries to defend himself. The trespasser's pleading with the property owner to call off the dogs reveals the complete reversal of power dynamics that occurred during this encounter. What started as an attempt at criminal activity quickly transformed into a survival situation where the intruder found himself begging for mercy. The property owner's response was firm. He tossed the criminal's bag and threatened to release the dogs again unless the trespasser left immediately. This encounter left a lasting impression that would undoubtedly influence any future criminal considerations by this individual. The next dog proves that no one is too small to defend their home. The backyard explorer's swift exit. Property invasion attempts often begin with careful reconnaissance, but one suspicious individual discovered that even the smallest canine defenders can rapidly transform exploration into evacuation. This encounter demonstrates how quickly criminal confidence can evaporate when faced with unexpected resistance. The criminal's methodical search for easy entry points suggests this was a planned operation rather than an opportunistic crime. However, all his careful reconnaissance became worthless the moment he encountered a small defender who refused to be intimidated by his size advantage. The image of the small dog standing proudly with its tail wagging in triumph perfectly captures the satisfaction that comes with successful territory defense. This tiny guardian's immediate recognition of the threat and aggressive response not only protected its home, but also served as a powerful reminder that effective security doesn't always come in large packages. Next up, a pair of crime fighters that got an assist from gravity. The rooftop burglar's punishment. Escape routes become irrelevant when gravity and angry dogs work together, as one burglar discovered when his rooftop escape plan failed. The burglar's failed leap from the roof to the wall created the perfect opportunity for the canine defenders. His impact with the ground not only injured him, but also placed him directly in the territory of two determined dogs who had been waiting. The coordinated effort between the human pursuer and the canine defenders created an inescapable situation for the criminal. While one man watched from above and another circled around to cut off potential escape routes, the dogs maintained constant pressure on the intruder, ensuring he couldn't recover from his fall and attempt another escape. The exhausted and battered state of the intruder by the time he was apprehended served as a powerful deterrent message to any other potential criminals. Moving on to dogs that showed no fear of attack. The armed group's retreat. Even armed criminal gangs discovered their limitations when a group of robbers equipped with steel pipes encountered two fearless dogs who refused to be intimidated by weapons or numbers. This encounter demonstrates that canine courage operates independently of logical threat assessment. The criminals' careful approach suggests they were aware of potential security measures, but nothing could have prepared them for the psychological impact of facing two dogs who viewed their weapons as irrelevant. The immediate scattering of the group when confronted by the charging dogs reveals how quickly organized criminal confidence can dissolve when faced with unexpected resistance. The futility of trying to intimidate the dogs with weapons demonstrates a fundamental difference between human and canine threat perception. The robbers' rapid retreat, despite their numerical and weapons advantage, proved that sometimes the most effective security systems are those that operate on pure instinct rather than calculated risk assessment. Up next, a dog that made it rain intruder. The Rottweiler's roof-to-floor defense. Vertical escape routes provide no sanctuary when determined dogs are involved, as one masked intruder learned when his attempt to avoid a Rottweiler by hanging from a roof ultimately failed. The Rottweiler's jumping attempts to reach the hanging intruder demonstrate the breed's remarkable determination and athletic ability. The dog's patient persistence in maintaining pressure on the criminal, even when he was temporarily out of reach, eventually paid off when gravity brought the intruder back within range. The subsequent ground struggle revealed the Rottweiler's tactical intelligence and physical capabilities. Despite the intruder's desperate attempts to use his legs to create distance, the dog's relentless comeback strategy eventually wore down the criminal's resistance. The timing of the owner's intervention prevented serious injury, while ensuring the intruder experienced enough consequence to understand the severity of his mistake. This encounter serves as a perfect example of how patience, persistence, and protective instinct can overcome even well-planned criminal escape strategies. This next one is a lesson in teamwork: the double dog domination. Mathematical principles proved irrelevant in criminal encounters, as one suspected intruder discovered when facing two determined dogs simultaneously created an impossible defensive scenario. This encounter demonstrates the exponential increase in defensive effectiveness when multiple canine guardians coordinate their efforts. The strategic coordination between the two dogs, with one targeting the hand and the other focusing on the leg, demonstrates an almost military-level tactical awareness. This dual-target approach ensured that the intruder couldn't effectively defend against both attacks simultaneously, creating a completely overwhelming defensive scenario. The involvement of community members who eventually decided the man had suffered enough reveals the social dynamics that often surround such encounters. Even the woman's struggles to pull the dogs off the intruder against their determination highlights the incredible focus and commitment that protective dogs bring to their defensive duties. This incident serves as a powerful demonstration of how multiple canine defenders can create an inescapable situation for criminals, regardless of their size, strength, or desperation level. Next up, a classic reminder that not all heroes wear capes: the street dog's intervention. Canine heroism extends beyond property protection, as our next incredible story demonstrates when a street dog stepped up to help a complete stranger being threatened by a would-be mugger. This encounter showcases the remarkable social awareness and protective instincts that dogs can display even toward humans they don't know. The street dog's remarkable ability to read the situation and distinguish between normal pedestrian behavior and predatory stalking demonstrates the sophisticated social intelligence that dogs possess. The timing of its intervention, precisely as the criminal reached for the victim's purse, suggests the dog had been monitoring the situation and recognized the transition from potential threat to actual attack. The woman's safety was preserved not by trained security or law enforcement, but by a small street dog that chose to involve itself in a dangerous situation to protect a stranger. This encounter serves as a beautiful reminder that heroism comes in all sizes. Moving on to another case of burglar extermination: the close-call rooftop escape. Precision timing and athletic ability combined to create one of the most dramatic escape sequences in our collection, where an intruder barely avoided two eager canine pursuers through a combination of luck and desperation. This encounter demonstrates how even successful escapes come with significant physical and psychological costs. The criminal's slip and fall from the roof created the perfect alert system for the waiting dogs, transforming his attempt at stealth into a loud announcement of his location. The sound of his impact immediately drew the attention of both canine defenders, who responded with the speed and determination that characterized all of our featured encounters. The intruder's desperate use of the doghouse as an intermediate stepping stone to reach the wall demonstrates the creative problem-solving that panic can inspire. However, his heavy breathing and backward glances as he escaped reveal the psychological impact of even a successful criminal encounter when canine defenders are involved. The dog in the next case delivered a very speedy trial, verdict, and sentence. Pre-crime punishment in Vietnam. Sometimes justice arrives before the crime is even completed, as one would-be thief in Vietnam discovered when his attempt to force open a gate resulted in immediate and painful consequences. This encounter demonstrates how the mere presence of protective dogs can turn criminal tools into instruments of self-punishment. The thief's methodical approach to forcing open the metal gate suggests this wasn't an impulsive decision, but rather a planned criminal activity. However, his careful planning failed to account for the psychological impact of sudden canine intervention. intervention. The moment the dog's barking pierced the air, the criminal's concentration shattered, causing him to lose control of the heavy gate he had been lifting. The irony of this situation cannot be overstated. The very tool he was using to commit his crime became the instrument of his punishment. Reports indicate that his leg was broken in the incident, serving as a painful reminder that sometimes criminals receive their consequences before they even complete their intended crimes. The next case takes us further into Asia. The Indonesian Begal failure. International criminal methods proved no match for loyal canine defenders, as an Indonesian robbery attempt using the local begal technique was completely derailed by one dog's unwavering loyalty to its homeless owner. This encounter demonstrates that protective instincts transcend socioeconomic status and housing situations. The begal technique, which involves road robbery followed by motorcycle escape, typically relies on speed and surprise to overwhelm victims before they can react. However, the attackers failed to account for the homeless man's loyal canine companion who refused to remain passive while witnessing an attack on its beloved owner. The dog's determination to protect its owner was so intense that it continued chasing the attackers even after the leash around its neck broke free, demonstrating that the bond between this homeless man and his canine companion transcended any physical restraints. This story serves as a powerful reminder that loyalty and protective instincts aren't dependent on material wealth or comfortable living situations. Sometimes the strongest bonds exist between those who have only each other to depend upon. Moving on to a case that shows a criminal's boldness as much as the guards. A thief's request. Audacity reached new heights in Teresina, Brazil, where a highly experienced thief's criminal career took an unexpected turn when he encountered an unusual guard that left him making desperate requests. This encounter showcases how even the most seasoned criminals can be caught completely off guard by effective canine security. The robber's extensive experience, having stolen several times around his residence, gave him false confidence in his criminal abilities. However, all his previous successes became irrelevant when he encountered a defender whose protective instincts operated independently of his criminal reputation or experience level. The sheer audacity of his situation became apparent when the homeowners discovered him in their kitchen, where he shamelessly demanded medical attention, saying, "Your dog is biting me. Take me to the hospital." The homeowners' reaction, thinking the thief was crazy and immediately chasing him out, perfectly captures the surreal nature of a criminal making victim demands while actively engaged in committing a crime. Next up is a case where security was a family affair. The family defense team. Street dogs proved their heroic potential in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where two remarkable canines named Malvina and Sofia demonstrated that family bonds extend beyond species when they protected a man named Diego from armed robbers. This encounter represents one of the most heartwarming examples of interspecies protection and community support. The robbers' shameless approach, pointing a gun directly at Diego's face, revealed their confidence in their ability to intimidate and control the situation. However, their criminal calculations failed to account for two street dogs who had apparently adopted Diego as part of their extended family worth protecting. Malvina and Sofia, a mother and daughter duo who lived peacefully on the streets, refused to allow the robbery to proceed. Their intervention was so effective that the armed robbers, despite having weapons and numerical advantage, quickly fled the scene rather than contend with two determined canine defenders. Diego's grateful response, "Good job, girls," perfectly captures the appreciation that comes with unexpected heroism from unlikely sources. Speaking of protecting family, the Doberman's grandfather rescue. Family protection took on new meaning when two Dobermans witnessed their family patriarch being threatened by robbers and immediately sprang into action to save their beloved grandfather. The robbers' confidence in their intimidation tactics was immediately shattered when the granddaughter unknowingly opened the gate, releasing two Dobermans who had been observing the threatening situation. The dogs' immediate recognition of the threat and their coordinated response revealed the depth of their protective instincts and their understanding of family hierarchies. The granddaughter's initial attempt to protect the dogs by closing the gate demonstrates her lack of awareness about their capabilities and determination. However, the Doberman's decision to rush out regardless of her protective gestures shows their prioritization of family safety over personal security. Their successful intimidation of the robbers, knocking at least one to the ground and scaring them away, proves that sometimes the best security systems are those that genuinely care about the people they're protecting. Next up, a real-life action movie hero. Rambo, the pitbull. Nomi Moreno discovered that her most reliable protector had 4 legs and an unwavering sense of justice when masked assailants attempted to rob her after a bank visit. Noemi's belief that the suspects had followed her from the bank suggests this was a targeted attack rather than a random crime of opportunity. The attack itself was swift and violent, with 2 masked men in black attacking Nomi. Their coordinated assault, pulling her so hard that she fell to the ground while they attempted to steal her purse. However, Rambo the pitbull's intervention changed everything, rushing toward the commotion as Noemi held onto her purse for dear life. The sight of the determined canine defender was enough to convince the attackers that their robbery attempt was no longer worth the risk. Their hasty retreat, with one robber even losing a shoe in his desperation to escape, left behind surveillance evidence but preserved Noemi's safety and belongings. If you enjoyed this video, click on the other videos on your screen for more.